What happens when one of Hollywood's most unpredictable stars sits across from one of daytime TV's most outspoken hosts? The result is a clash so intense and unexpected that it left the audience frozen and the crew scrambling. Johnny Depp's visit to The View was meant to be a simple talk about his new projects, but it quickly turned into one of the most explosive interviews the show had ever seen. Within minutes, polite talk turned into a fiery exchange that had Joy Behar questioning her own interview style and Depp pushing back harder than anyone expected. The tension in the studio was so thick you could almost feel it in the air. By the end, everyone knew they had just seen something unforgettable. Before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts below, because this story only gets wilder from here. The morning started normally at The View's studio. Johnny Depp walked in with his usual cool confidence, his rings catching the lights as he took his seat. The crowd cheered, thrilled to see the movie star up close. Joy Behar, sitting at the table with her co-hosts, had that familiar sharp glint in her eyes that meant she was ready to dig deep. "Johnny Depp, welcome to The View," she began with her trademark New York tone. "We've followed your career for years, and I have to say, it's been quite the ride." Depp leaned back with a faint smile. "Well, Joy, roller coasters can be fun. It just depends if you're the one riding or the one watching from the side." His words were smooth, but there was an edge there that Joy immediately picked up on. She wasn't one to back away. "Oh, I don't do sidelines," she replied with a laugh. "Which is why I have to ask, you've made some pretty surprising choices lately. Your fans are wondering what's going on. There seems to be this pattern of, let's say, self-sabotage that keeps hitting the news." The audience shifted uneasily. Even Whoopi Goldberg and Sarah Haynes looked uncertain about where this was going so early in the interview. Depp's smile faded. "Self-destructive?" he repeated slowly. "That's an interesting word, Joy, but it sounds like you've already decided who I am before I've said anything." Joy blinked, a bit caught off guard. "Well, I mean the legal troubles, the public incidents, the career issues. These are just facts, Johnny." Depp's voice grew softer but sharper. "Facts are just opinions dressed up in nice clothes. And opinions, well, everyone's got one, but not everyone should show it off." The audience chuckled nervously. Joy raised her chin. "Okay, this will be an interesting talk," she said tightly. "Let's talk about accountability. When things keep going wrong, at what point do you stop blaming others and look in the mirror?" Depp's jaw stiffened. "Mirrors? That's funny, because I'm looking at you now and wondering what you see in yours. Someone seeking truth? Or someone who enjoys tearing people down for entertainment?" The room went silent. Even Joy, who had seen it all, seemed thrown. "Excuse me?" she said, her voice rising. "I'm doing my job, asking what people want to know." Depp nodded. "Right. And my job is to sit here and smile while you analyze me on TV based on gossip." "Is that it, Joy?" Whoopi stepped in quickly. "Let's take a breath, everyone." But Depp shook his head. "No, Whoopi, Joy wants to talk about patterns and accountability, so let's do that. Let's talk about how media personalities make a living by judging people they don't know." Joy's face flushed. "You think I tear people down? I've interviewed hundreds of people, Johnny. If you can't take tough questions, maybe you shouldn't come on." Depp smiled coldly. "I can take it. Can you handle someone who doesn't play by your rules? You're used to guests taking the heat and leaving quietly, but I'm not here to sell anything. I came here because I'm curious." "Curious about what?" Joy asked sharply. Depp tapped his fingers on the chair arm. "I'm curious about this game we play, this dance between the media and public figures. You sit there dissecting people's lives like it's open-heart surgery, but never ask what gives you that right." Joy frowned. "The public's right to know gives me that right. When you take their money and fame, you give up some privacy. That's the deal." Depp's voice dripped with disbelief. "Deal? Did I sign something saying I had to give up my humanity for fame? I must have missed that part." Sarah tried to help. "Johnny, I think joy means people feel connected to public figures and want to understand them." Depp's tone softened briefly. "Sarah, that's fair, but let's be real. This isn't about understanding. It's about consumption. Shows like this deliver people's pain for ratings." Joy slammed her hand on the desk. "That's arrogant, Johnny. You think you're better than the audience who made you famous?" Depp's voice rose. "I've faced judges and juries for years. I've owned my actions, but you want your pound of flesh too, don't you? The air was electric. Even the crew froze. Whoopi tried again to calm things down, but it was no use. Don't turn this on me, Joy snapped. Your choices got you in those situations. Don't blame me. Depp stood up, pacing like a restless animal. Accountability, he said. You throw that word around, but you confuse it with humiliation. What you do isn't accountability. It's voyeurism disguised as journalism. It's feeding time at the zoo. Joy rose, matching him. If you didn't want to be in the zoo, you shouldn't have bought a ticket. No one forced you to be famous. Depp's voice dropped, cold and calm. You're right, but I never signed up to be your dancing monkey. The audience gasped. Joy's face changed. Shock, anger, maybe even hurt. Dancing monkey? She repeated. You think I'm here to make you dance? Depp leaned back. Isn't that what this is? You poke, you provoke, then you sit back and watch. More drama, better ratings. That's not journalism, Depp said, laughing bitterly. Real journalism seeks truth. This is content creation. Joy's voice trembled. I've fought for justice for years. Don't dismiss that. Depp's eyes softened for a moment. I respect that, Joy, but good causes don't excuse bad methods. Bad methods? Joy repeated. I'm asking questions. It's not the questions, Depp said. It's the assumptions. You act like you already know the answers. The tension was unbearable. Joy leaned in. You know what I think, Johnny? You're scared. You're afraid people see past the image to who you really are. Depp's stare turned cold. And what do you think that is? Someone who can't handle being held responsible, she shot back. Someone who'd rather blame the press than face himself. Depp's voice dropped to a dangerous calm. Wreckage. That's what you see when you look at my life? Whoopi tried to stop it, but Depp cut her off. Let's talk about wreckage. The wreckage left when people like you turn someone's pain into a public spectacle. Joy's tone was sharp. I didn't create your pain, Johnny. Didn't you? He said. You feed off it. My lowest points are your highest ratings. Tell me, Joy, do you sleep well after tearing people apart? How dare you? Joy snapped. I fight for truth. Truth? Depp laughed bitterly. This isn't truth. It's execution dressed as entertainment. You make the audience the jury. Where's the justice in that? Sarah tried again to cool things off. Johnny, you must have expected hard questions. Sure, he said. But there's a difference between tough questions and character assassination. Between accountability and holding someone hostage. Nobody's holding you hostage, Joy said. You can walk out any time. Depp spread his arms. Can I? If I walk out, you'll say I stormed off. Damned if I stay, damned if I go. Joy hesitated, then said quietly, maybe you just can't handle the truth. Maybe people have spoiled you for so long that when someone challenges you, you break. Depp's eyes flashed. Here's the truth, Joy. I've made mistakes, I've hurt people, but I'm still human. I'm not a character in your moral drama, Joy rose again. You call this moral superiority? Yes, Depp said firmly. Judging lives you've never lived, that's moral superiority. The studio was frozen. Cameras captured every second. Depp leaned forward. You talk about accountability, but who holds you accountable? Who fixes the damage you cause? Joy's face paled. That's not what I do. Isn't it? Depp pressed. You find people at their lowest, kick them while they're down, and call it journalism. Stop, Joy whispered, her voice breaking. Depp finally paused. I'm not trying to destroy you, he said softly. But you need to know what it's like to be on the other side. We're not content, we're people. Joy looked down, then back up with tears in her eyes. You think I don't know that? You think I don't care? I think you care more about the show than the people, Depp said quietly. The words hit her hard. You're probably right, Joy said finally, her voice shaking. Somewhere along the way, I forgot that the person in the chair matters more than the story. She looked at him, raw and honest. I stopped asking myself if I was helping or just hurting. The room was silent. Depp sat back down, his anger gone. Joy, I didn't mean to. Yes, you did, she interrupted softly. And maybe I needed it. She smiled sadly. I started this to give a voice to others. To fight for truth. But I forgot to ask what truth really means. Depp nodded. Good intentions don't excuse harm. You're right, she said. They paved the road somewhere dark. Joy, Whoopi began, but Joy held up a hand. No, for once we finish this. She looked at Depp. You asked what I see in the mirror? Most days I don't look. I'm afraid of what I'll see. Depp leaned forward gently. We're all afraid of that. The question is, what do we do with the fear? What do you do with yours? Joy asked. Depp sighed. I hide behind characters, behind masks. But maybe that doesn't work anymore. Maybe we're both better at examining others than ourselves, Joy said quietly. Maybe, Depp agreed. But people can change, even us. The audience was captivated. This wasn't the drama they expected. It was something real. You know what scares me most? Joy asked. That I've asked others to be honest while I never was. Depp smiled genuinely. You're being honest now, Joy blinked. We're doing this on live TV, aren't we? We are, Depp said. And maybe that's where it needed to happen. Sarah finally spoke. What we've seen here is rare. Two people brave enough to go deeper. Whoopi nodded. Honesty like this almost never happens on television. Joy turned to Depp. Johnny, I owe you an apology for treating you like a headline instead of a human being. Depp nodded. And I owe you one too, for misjudging your intentions. Joy extended her hand. Truce? Truce, Depp agreed. Maybe we can both try to do better. Deal, Joy said, smiling for real this time. As the show ended, they both looked lighter, changed. The audience stood, clapping not for drama, but for honesty. Well, Joy said with a grin, that wasn't the interview I planned. The best ones never are, Depp replied. The show faded to commercial, leaving behind something rare, a real human moment. It was one of the most powerful TV moments in years, making people ask new questions about fame, truth, and compassion. Should more interviews be this real? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Sometimes the most shocking moments remind us that even behind fame and controversy, people are still just people.